Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this month's edition of 14 to 1, the AHP podcast for Coventry and Warwickshire. I hope you enjoyed the last podcast with Angela Shamada, our Chief AHP, telling us about her role and some tips if you want to develop in AHP leadership. I am very excited that this month we have Becca Ward joining us. Becca is a drama therapist who works for Coventry and Warwickshire Partnership Trust. Good morning, Becca.
Jodie. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Thank you very much for being here. And so today I'm going to ask you some questions about what it's like to be a drama therapist, because it's one of the sort of 14 AHP professions that perhaps some of us don't know as much about. So you're a drama therapist, which is very, very exciting. So can you tell us a little bit about what a drama therapist does?
I'd be more than happy to. And thank you for having me on, because I think drama therapy is something that's being more recognised widely. But I think it is still something that a lot of people have questions about, kind of what drama therapy is. So I'm more than happy to kind of share a little bit about the modality. So drama therapy is kind of under the creative therapy modality, and the beauty of drama therapy is kind of what it says on the tin. It allows a client to come into the space and use drama kind of techniques and methods to be able to work through some of the challenges or difficulties that they might be experiencing. So, for example, I'm just going to use kind of young people in the service that I'm currently working with. We might have a referral through for somebody that might be struggling to be able to manage or kind of feel ready to look at something they've experienced. They're not quite ready to be in a position where they feel safe enough or able to process it by talking and in the here and now. So using drama therapy allows them to have a bit of flexibility on how they can do that at their own pace. And it's, as I said before, it's through a lot of creative tools. So, for example, we might use things like storytelling, we might use kind of character work, we might use kind of getting up on our feet and using embodiment and play. We've got kind of like a sand tray in the room. So there's lots of different materials that we can use to help them safely begin to kind of explore and look at some of the challenges that they're going through. So it's a really flexible and open modality that works with a wide range of different clients to help them find an alternative way, because as we know, not one size fits all. So I think in terms of different therapies that we offer, I think it's really important to be able to have creative therapies within a service, because I think it's just, it would be a shame, I think, for some clients to kind of go into a talking therapy and feel as though they've kind of failed because they're not quite ready to know how to work on what it is they need to work on. So I think drama therapy allows that bit of flexibility to be able to do that as well. So yeah.
Absolutely. And I think it's so interesting. And I think as clinicians listening to this, or as anybody, we can all think of patients that we've worked with or clients that we've worked with who this would really, really benefit. And having this as a kind of another option for us to refer our clients to, it is so important. And yeah, kind of keeping those creative therapies in services, but also building the profile of them and kind of getting people to understand what you do and who you work with so that more people can refer in is so important. So what made you want to become a drama therapist? What was it that kind of sparked your interest? And can you talk us through your kind of career to now?
Of course. So when I did my undergrad degree, so I did my first BA honours in drama, I thought that I wanted to maybe have a career following that in terms of maybe performing or drama. It was always something that I enjoyed doing kind of growing up, and it really helped me. I was always involved with the local kind of amateur dramatic theatre shows, and it really helped me, for someone who was quite shy and not very confident, to kind of come out of my shell. And I always kind of really found a space for how helpful drama was in terms of being able to use that space to kind of become someone else and build my confidence through kind of the means of that, but through the means of performing. So when I went to university to do my drama degree at the University of Lincoln, as I kind of came to the third year, I had some questions around kind of what was going to be happening in next steps in terms of where the degree would take me. one of the considerations I had was to go into teaching. The other consideration was to try and see, you know, if I could kind of move forward in the performing world, kind of as an actor. But obviously that industry is very difficult. And one of the last months of university, we had a drama therapist come in to do a workshop, and hadn't really heard a lot about, I'd heard about art therapy, but I hadn't heard much about drama therapy before. And they came in, they brought in all these materials. I remember it was all these different kind of bits of fabric, and we did like a bit of a group session to kind of understand a little bit about what drama therapy was. And I was just absolutely kind of like blown away in terms of kind of how drama and therapy could kind of come together. And I think from that point, I kind of came away and thought that's what I want to do. And I kind of knew from that point that was kind of the path that I wanted to go down. So I kind of looked into the different courses, the master's courses that kind of offered the drama therapy course. And it was quite limited. So there's not an awful lot still that do provide drama therapy. I think it's 4 or 5 universities. And at that point, a lot of the recommendations were to go away and get some experience. I think kind of using drama as kind of a form of therapy within, I guess, within the environment, and getting some experience before actually applying for the course. So that's what I did. I spent a couple of years kind of building up my experience. I would offer some volunteering. I worked at a brain recovery charity where I went in and kind of did some drama sessions. I worked with adults with learning difficulties as well, and I was kind of the drama teacher there for a number of years. So a lot of it was kind of how we use drama to be able to kind of support people for a wide variety of different kind of settings. And so I gained all of that experience, and then I applied for the masters in 2017, getting ahead of myself what year it was now. 2017 it was, and that was at the University of Derby. And that was a 2-year master's course, which was really intense and it was challenging. Like, a lot of the work was about you, I think, as an individual and a therapist. So we had to go through our own individual therapy, and we had to work quite closely with our cohort. We did placements in different kind of settings. And so I qualified in 2019. And then from that point, I've kind of built up again my experience. I wanted to get a bit of a mixture of working in different establishments, and obviously different kind of client groups as well, both adult and children. My goal was always to work in the NHS. I've always been quite passionate about kind of wanting to work with young people. So I kind of fell on my feet really in terms of when I was able to get the position here at CAMS, because it's exactly kind of the environment and clients that I wanted to work with. So I felt really lucky that I've had the opportunity to kind of grow drama therapy here as well. And I think over the last 3 years, that's what I've done really. I've been given kind of the opportunity to expand it and tell more people about it. So it's lovely that I think it's getting more of a kind of wide understanding within the service now. So yeah, that's good.
That's fantastic, and what an interesting kind of journey. And I never really thought about how much, you would have to work on yourself in terms of understanding yourself and kind of being able to then use that to support other people. And I think it's really great to sort of sometimes lots of us go into professions as AHPs where we kind of, from I was 18 and I chose to be a physio, and that's kind of it. And obviously I've done different things, but I think it's lovely sometimes to hear that people start off doing a drama degree and then you end up in this fantastic career as a drama therapist, but you didn't really know about it until someone came and spoke to you. And it kind of backs up lots of the work we do around outreach and around supporting kind of getting our professions out there, doesn't it? So that's brilliant. And so you've talked a little bit, obviously, about working with some clients in terms of young people, but do drama therapists work with everybody? Kind of, can they work across the whole lifespan?
Absolutely. That's the beauty of drama therapy. As I said earlier, it's so flexible and able to kind of adapt really to any form of client. So from children to adults, to elderly as well. Like there's such a wide span of kind of people that can kind of benefit from drama therapy. It's really beneficial from a one-to-one perspective. Also really beneficial from kind of doing group work. So for example, if there's a particular kind of group that might be kind of recovering from something specific that they've all kind of experienced together, using kind of a drama therapy group can offer that kind of safe way to be able to look through that. So if there's a kind of a trauma that they've all kind of experienced, or something that that a lot of people have kind of been through together, like the drama therapy group can offer them that space. We work in prisons, we work in schools, we can kind of work in hospitals, kind of care homes. There's no real end to kind of where drama therapy can be adapted to, and I guess the purpose of those sessions can be tailored to exactly what that kind of group need. So I think it's brilliant, really. I wouldn't say there was a particular client group that it wouldn't be beneficial for. I think the only thing really that kind of clients need coming into drama therapy is kind of that ability or openness to want to engage. I think it's the sort of kind of modality that you kind of need to be open to and kind of accept that, yeah, this is something that I want to engage in. I think if it's something that you're not sure whether or not, you know, this kind of modality is for you, it can sometimes be a bit difficult, because naturally we do use a lot of kind of materials and creativity. We often kind of poke into, like, you know, using imagination and kind of that, you know, metaphors, and quite a lot of distance in the work as well, and playfulness and games, and it can be therapeutic, but it could also be something that's very kind of enjoyable as well. I think for some groups, you know, I'm running a group at the moment in CAMS, and it's for young people that have got a diagnosis of autism, and they're also kind of struggling with maybe social anxiety, and the group just offers them that kind of safe opportunity to come in and just be themselves, and to see the kind of growth within, it's only been 6 weeks, but the growth from the first session to now with the young people is amazing, just because that kind of opportunity to be and play. And I think just going back to working with adults as well, it's giving them kind of the opportunity to kind of be children again within that space, and kind of use some of those areas that we don't often get to in day-to-day life in terms of creativity and metaphors and characters and storytelling. We often don't have much opportunity to do that day to day, so I think it's just a completely different space. So very flexible who we can take drama therapy to.
Fantastic. And so how should if we've got people listening today thinking, oh, I really want to refer somebody into drama therapy, or I want to have a chat, what's the best way to do it? How can we get people referred into
you're more
you?
than welcome to reach out to me directly. So I don't know how it works with kind of sending information, but I'm happy to put kind of my email somewhere for but also for any staff that work within the trust. They can type my name into the kind of search, and it will come up, and more than happy to kind of reach out to come and have a bit of a chat in terms of referring. So we kind of have a bit of a consultation method that we follow with the art and drama therapy, where somebody would kind of say, I've got a young person that I think would really benefit from kind of receiving your support, and I think the drama therapy modality would suit what they need to work on at the moment. So I think the best thing with that is we will arrange a consultation where we can just have a bit of a space to think about the young person, and also for them to understand a little bit about how drama therapy may or may not be suitable, because I think sometimes, even with kind of having an understanding of it, we do need to be kind of make sure, because drama therapy is a longer term therapy. It's usually, it can be up to 1 to 2 years really within this service in terms of the duration, because it can often take the first sign of 12 weeks to build up kind of confidence, and then I think it can take another kind of further 4 or 5 months for a young person to feel able to feel safe enough to explore what they need to work on. I think reaching out to me. Also, I work within Coventry core CAMS team, so they can also access that email as well. More than happy to speak with anybody who's got any further questions about it, and then we kind of take it from there. And then if we think actually, I think that young person would benefit, then we can add them to our kind of waiting list, and we go from there really. And then another great thing, because we are running the drama therapy group, sometimes we might feel as though they might be more suitable for the group environment as well. So it's great that we've got those two offers that we can kind of bring, and I'm very passionate about growing that as well. You know, I really want to kind of grow and keep the groups running. I think since COVID, obviously, we've not been able to run as many groups, so it's nice that we've been able to kind of get those started again, because I think there's something that a group offers sometimes that one-to-one doesn't always manage to kind of meet. So, yes.
Brilliant, absolutely. And I think, yeah, groups versus one to one, it's kind of across the whole AHP, area in terms of what we offer and how we offer and how that works for patients, but how that works for us as well. So fantastic. So last question then, can you tell me what's the best thing about your job, and then what is the most challenging thing about your job?
So this answer is going to be quite similar, actually. They kind of tie in together. So I think for me, the best part of the job is kind of when I see the journey of a young person from when I first work with them till kind of that end session, and we have time in the last session where we look back at all the amazing work that they've done and kind of their own journey. And sometimes I don't think young people really can remember kind of where they were at the start until they look back in that final session and they think, wow, like all the work that they've completed. And actually when they look at the bigger picture in terms of how much that's kind of supported them. And don't get me wrong, sometimes, we'll get to the end of therapy and it can very much feel as though there's only kind of been one thing that's kind of been resolved, or actually it's but even that minimal thing is in itself kind of a direction then for them to start kind of moving forward, more positively in other areas of their life. But so I think the most rewarding part for me is kind of when I'm kind of ending the work with a young person and we get to look back at the journey that they've come on, and actually seeing how far a lot of the time that they've come. And I think it's, for me, I always feel proud when I get to kind of finish with somebody and they've engaged well, they've come to every session, because sometimes that can be really difficult as well, as actually a young person feeling ready and wanting to engage every week. So yeah, that's the most kind of rewarding part for me, is kind of looking back at the end of sessions where we can see all the work they've done. I'd say the most challenging part, similarly, really, is kind of having to have those endings, because often I work with young people for so long, I think actually ending that work can sometimes feel really difficult. I think for both the therapist and young person as well, because they've been so used to kind of having that space, it almost feels difficult for them to kind of, and endings can be really tricky, I think, for a lot of different reasons. So kind of having that kind of piece of work and then ending with a young person can sometimes feel really difficult as well. But I think as well, having that understanding that not all young people that come into therapy will necessarily be the right time, and I think that acceptance as well, that can be challenging, kind of having to have that discussion to say, I don't think this is for right now, and having to kind of think about other resources that they can access as well. So I think sometimes that can be quite challenging, having to kind of put our hands up and say, look, this isn't working right now for whatever reason. And usually that could be a number of different things. It could just be circumstances. It could just be where they are with in their life. There might be other kind of components that are happening, meaning that therapy right now just doesn't feel like the right space. But having to kind of make that decision as well, I think, can sometimes feel a bit challenging. So yeah, very kind of similar regarding those endings, I think.
Lovely. Well, thank you so much for your time today and for telling us about drama therapy. Hopefully, this has increased awareness, but also you may see some kind of increases in referrals into the service and some general questions, etc. Thank you for everything that you do as an AHP for patients, and for being on here and sharing your history and your passion for drama therapy. That's really shone through. And I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll be back next month with a 14 to 1 podcast about research.
Thanks,
Thank you very much,
Jodie.
Becca.
See you later.